Koppel, host of the Time for Coffee podcast, where you get first-hand career advice into the jobs and industries that interest you the most. And before we start today's show, I have a quick favor to ask you. If you haven't already, I'd be incredibly grateful if you give us a rating and a review on iTunes. And if you're like me, you need to do it now because you'll forget later and because it's the best way to help others who may be in search of career advice to find this free resource. So press pause if you haven't done it and do it right now. I'll wait. Thanks so much and enjoy today's show. Hey there, Java Junkies. Welcome to another K-Cup mini episode of Time for Coffee. By the way, K-Cups come in 3 sizes, single, double, and triple shots, or roughly 1 minute, 5 minutes, or 10 minutes in length. So if you don't have time to throw back an entire caffeinated career conversation, these K-Cup mini episodes of T4C can give you a quick caffeinated fix, whether you're on the go or you only have a few minutes to binge. So grab your mug and take a chug, because it's time for a caffeinated career triple shot K-Cup with my guest, Christopher Lochhead. So here we go, Chris. 2 final Time for Coffee questions that I try to ask all of my guests. And the first one is, if you could share a time in your professional life when you failed. You've already alluded to the first entrepreneurial endeavor that after a few years did not work out. Maybe there are others. The most important point here is how you persevered. And if there was a lesson that you learned in the process, because so often what we show the public, what we show young people when they scroll our LinkedIn feeds are all of our successes, but they don't see all the broken rungs in the ladder that we climbed to get to the top. And all of us have broken rungs.
So one of my favorite expressions is you can't be a legend without being a loser. And I've had massive, horrible public failures. My first business was a failure, and I've had many since then. When I was the head of marketing at Mercury, we were a $1 billion company. We were on fire. And then, without getting into all the details unless you want me to, we got investigated for accounting fraud by the Securities and Exchange Commission. And as a result, we ended up firing our CEO, CFO, and general counsel on the same day. We were a public company. Our stock was trading at about $45 a share, and it went down to $20 a share. And it was November 11th, which means it was the 4th quarter. And if you know anything about the technology business and the software business, what you know is a disproportionate amount of that company's annual revenue tends to happen in the 4th quarter. And so with less than half a quarter in front of us, we fired everybody. Our stock tanked. Anyway, the short story is we turned the company around rapidly. We sold the company for $55 a share 9 months later, which was approximately $5 billion to Hewlett Packard. And I can tell you how we did that. But the mindset thing is what matters. So as I shared with you, math was over for me in grade 3. My favorite equation ever is results do not equal no results plus an excuse. Results do not equal no results plus an excuse. And so here's what happened for me. When I was about 17 and my education was being dismantled in front of me and all that shit was going on, I remember exactly where I was. I was on a street in Montreal called Côte de Neige. It was February. It was cold as fuck. And I was waiting for a bus. And I was in the pit of despair. And I had an angel and a devil on either shoulder. And the angel was my grandfather saying, "You're the bestest boy in the world." And the devil was my mother saying, "Don't grow up to be a bum. Don't be a bum. Don't be a bum." She was terrified. I was failing out of school. You're a mother. And so I had a sort of pivotal moment waiting for that bus. And I decided who I was going to be. I decided I was going to be the man my grandfather said I was. And I was not going to disappoint my mother ever. And I sort of shut that door. And then I said, I'm going to do whatever it takes to be successful, period, full stop. So in those moments of failure, in those moments, we made up, think languaging, we made up a nice word around here to make it sound better than it is. We call it losery. When there's a shit ton of losery going on, you have to decide before the losery starts, who you're going to be when the shit hits the fan. Everybody's great when it's great. Everybody's great when it's great. When it matters is when the stock gets cut in half. When it matters is when you're 21 years old and your business fails and your new wife is looking at you and you can't pay the rent, et cetera, et cetera. So I would encourage people to make the decision before the Losery starts. Who are you going to be? Are you somebody for whom results equal results? Because I will tell you, I have seen titans of Silicon Valley, names you know, melt like snow in July, that are nutless wonders, that act out of fear, that have a persona of being the person you want in the foxhole, but in point of fact, they're pussies and they run and they'll save their own ass as opposed to doing the right thing for the company. I've seen it 1,000 times. Make a decision. Who are you? Are you who I can count on when there's bombs going off everywhere? Can we count on you to produce legendary results no matter what? No excuses. Today everybody wants to be famous on social media and followers and all that stupidity. And there's one of the dumbest things that is going on right now in business, and it's this term personal branding. Personal branding is for idiots and assholes, because what personal branding has become is screaming, look at me, aren't I awesome, on fucking LinkedIn and Twitter and shit. Okay. And because people say, oh, you gotta have a personal brand. You gotta have a personal brand. No, people are not fucking brands. They're people. And what you really want is a reputation for results. And if you achieve a reputation for results, when the shit's going down, you will have a legendary career. And so I would encourage people to make the decision to, it's like my tattoo that we were talking about before we started, hold fast. Hold fast is, I don't care how much water this boat's taken on. You can count on me. Be that person. And that's a decision. Greatness, legendary, is a fucking decision. And to go back to dyslexia and dysphaglia is a controversial thing. Smart's a decision. I made a decision to be fucking smart. And courageous is a decision, because courageous equals action in the face of fear. There can be no courage without fear and circumstance. And so courage is action in the face of grave circumstance. And you either decide to be that person or not. And I can tell you, I was teetering and I made the decision to be that person. And look, have I always been perfect? Absolutely not. Have I had massive moments of doubt and fear in moments of pain and suffering and challenge? Absolutely. Have I need to be bolstered and supported and be told you can do this, champ, by people who love me and support me in moments of tremendous, adversarial moments? Of course I've been that way. Of course I felt weak like a little kid with no capability. Of course. But when you make that decision and you promise yourself that you're going to be that person and there's no going back, you always find a way, no matter how fearful you are. And so I would encourage people, be that person. Be the person that you love to admire. Be that person. Be a person that when you brush your teeth in the morning and you see that person in the mirror, you are honored and amazed by the person that you see brushing your fucking teeth. Be that person. And that's a decision. And when we make that decision and we commit to acting in alignment with results equal results, and no matter what comes through that door, I'm going to handle it, and handle it am I. That's a mindset. That's a commitment. And if you're good to that commitment, you're going to have a very, and I'm going to use this word on purpose, different life.
Thanks for tuning in to this K-Cup mini episode of Time for Coffee. If you want to listen to our entire caffeinated career conversation, please check out the show notes for this episode. Thanks so much for listening to this latest episode of T4C. And if you're interested in learning more about my coaching services for confused college students and recent grads, feel free to check out the Time for Coffee website under the coaching tab at time4coffee.org, or text me at 202-236-5712. That's 202-236-5712.